by their skipper, Gary Hughes, the full side. Greg Brentnell, Tony Armstrong, Chris Mortimer, Peter Mortimer, Steve Gearan, Gary Hughes, Steve Mortimer, Andrew Farrer, Stephen Folkes, Steve Mullen, John Coveney, Pat English, Taz Bateri, and coach Ted Blossom. Now the Parramatta side, their full team: Paul Taylor, Neil Hunt, Michael Cronin, Steve Ella, Graham Atkins, Brett Kenny, Peter Sterling, Ray Price, John Muggleton, Chris Phelan, Stephen Sharp, Stephen Edge, captain, Bob O'Reilly, coach Jack Gibson, referee Mr. Kevin Roberts. McCone gets Parramatta away, Canterbury receiving the ball, and ground conditions just a little bit chopped up. Barry Ross on the sideline.
Yes, perfect conditions otherwise for football. Rex, as you said, a little chopped up, but still good. There isn't totally wind, as that kick shows, and Canterbury's captain, Gary Hughes, won the toss and decided to take advantage of that wind.
All right, well, Paul Taylor's in possession for Parramatta. The play now situated midway between the Parramatta quarter and halfway. Canterbury in the white uniform with the blue shoulder patch, and the Parramatta side still in possession with Edge going from dummy half. This game turns out like the first one, 16-15 thriller, won by Canterbury on that occasion, and we'll all be well satisfied. Muggleton from dummy half, growing in confidence, one would feel, with his representative career well and truly started. Sterling. That's a Parramatta scrum. Back on the inside to Price, one-handed and very nicely executed. Price always manages to make some ground. Taylor. There's an offside against Canterbury, all inside the 5. Referee Roberts picking up where he left off in the State of Origin match, insisting on a strong 5 yards. Both sides, one hopes. Rather fine touch, a terrible error from Nick, and that is not good. Brentnell in possession outside his quarter. English. Now Steve Mortimer electing to kick. He's got Taylor a little bit out of position there. The ball rolling into the quarter. Fielded it well. Kenny backing up on the outside of him. And Taylor takes the tackle instead on his own quarter. Taylor. A run around move. Bob O'Reilly trying to straighten it up. Ooh, that was a dicey pass he gave to Edge, but Edge reflex caught it. Price. Sterling. Kenny. Cronin. Well and truly tackled out there. Sterling. Phelan standing wide, unable to get moving. Still on the quarter. That's a good passage of play for Canterbury. Parramatta with the ball again. Kenny goes the blind side and a switch of players. Ella came from left to right, and Kenny, who got it, went back the other way. At 5 yards from halfway. O'Reilly cuts out Phelan. Sharp stood in the tackle on the halfway line. We've had 8 minutes of play. Very committed team in defence in this match by Canterbury. O'Reilly's pass with the ground. Sharp picks it up.
Yes, Ted Glossop spent a bit of time before the game talking about that very fact, defence, and pointing out how costly defensive lapses were against South City last week.
Muggleton, and 2 to get him. 1 round the legs, 1 to block the arms, and again the crowd responding to good defensive stuff. situation with the scrums is 2-0 to Parramatta. The penalty is 2-1 Canterbury. There's a Canterbury scrum win. Gearin. Crossfield. Ella was underneath him with a copybook diving tackle. Steve Mortimer. Gary Hughes. Peter Mortimer, and chopped off there at the legs by Kenny. Gary Hughes. Run around, I think that's Armstrong. Steve Mortimer. It's Farah, who had a very useful game against South Sydney. There's English from dummy half. Ran into the ample proportions of Bob O'Reilly. Steve Mortimer. Gary Hughes. He passed. Oh, go away. Chris Mortimer. It's going to be a try. Stephen Folks will go away. That's a good one. Right round underneath the post. There it is. Oh, yes. A bit of quality football there from Canterbury. And there was the pass in from Steve Mullen, the player I was talking about earlier. And that was the one that sealed it. That's it again. Top quality. Now watch the Mortimer, the Gary Hughes. Now this is Mullen. Fought his arms free and dropped it literally into the hands of Chris Mortimer, back inside to the fast following folks. There was the challenge by Atkins, but it was too late from head on. What a classy pass from Mullen. Look at him, just drop it into him there. Beautiful stuff. Now the defence threadbare on the occasion that folks took the ball. No cover across there. So, against the pundit side is Canterbury 5, Parramatta 0, and we've had 11 minutes of play. Telecast brought to you by Mazda and your local Mazda dealer. Cronin kicks off. Parramatta could get possession. They do. I think it's Phelan. And he's had his jumper pulled over his head. And now Canterbury offside. I think that was Chris Mortimer being spoken to inside the 5. This will give Conan a chance of a relatively simple goal. 35 yards out and about 10 yards off centre. Mick Cronin, 64 from 90, success rate 71%. He's got it. So the score then after 13 minutes of play, Canterbury 5, Parramatta 2. Here to restart for Canterbury. Don't forget our telecast of the second State of Origin match on Tuesday night at Lang Park. You can see that at 9:30 on Channel 7 exclusively. The other one was a good, exciting match. And Queensland will be pretty keen to reverse that result. The top game of rugby league. Another massive crowd up there. Stephen Edge. Sterling, Taylor, Dummy, Gabriel Melvin, and it's a change of possession. Yeah, Mortimer. Sparrow. He's got the idea of straightening the attack, this lad. Steve Mortimer, Gary Hughes, dummies, nicely. Out of Folks. Inside Parramatta's quarter. English. It's John Coveney, State of Origin prop. Mortimer, little chip over the top. Pressure. Oh, beautifully taken by Atkins and driven over the dead ball line. Mortimer was the tackler. Peter. Ball judge kick. A player that Parramatta will be looking forward to seeing back fit and well is Eric Growth. The exciting wing three-quarter prospect.
He's telling me before the game that probably next week he'll make a reappearance, and Ron Hill, it's the week after.
Well, there are a couple of big names to come back. Damn fine footballers. A pair of them. Canterbury. Gary Hughes. Managed to get a pass away to Chris Mortimer. And to Peter Mortimer. Gearin unmarked, but he was down. He was knocked before he could do it. Steve Mortimer. Gary Hughes. Long floating pass out to Armstrong. Straight through! Goodwell score! He stepped in, he's in! That's a giant try! Oh, he's gone defence there that looked about Manly standard. 8-2. Armstrong given the ball with really nowhere to go, I thought. There was only the one back in the line. Gary Hughes, the passer, cut out Farah, and he just stepped 1, 2, and the attempted tackle there by Neil Hunt, much too late, and it could be a 7-point try. I was about to comment on that. Watch Hunt, watch the knees as the try is scored. Yes, well, we want to see the referees becoming more involved in this 7-point thing. There was one in the match yesterday that could well have been a 7-pointer. Deering's kick is successful. It is a 7-point try. There's that was the conversion attempt, and now the penalty from directly in front. Very long run for a short kick. He's only 11 yards out, directly in front. And there's another one. So the score now hastens on. Canterbury 12, Parramatta 2. Oh, Nick Cronin, again the restart. At the same type of kickoff. Mullen leapt high for that. English. And driven sideways. Stephen Folks, Steve Mortimer. And Farah again, standing up in the tackle. English, Steve Mortimer. Managed to get a pass away to Hughes, it's gone to ground. Sterling has it. Bit hairy, that pass, a little bit too rapid. Cronin. Phelan. And the Canterbury forwards, Barry Ross, are not taking any prisoners in their defence.
No, that's right. As I said, Ted Gosser spent a lot of time with that facet of the game because he was very concerned about those 2 early tries by South last week.
Sterling. Again, Sterling getting decked hard.
Those 2 young forwards, Rex Farrer and Mullen, both members of the Australian schoolboys team to France in 1979, playing very well.
Taking a different passage. Steve Mortimer saves the day. That ball ricocheted. Terry got him pass away to Brentwell, who's driven sideways by the defensive Phelan and Edge. Farah. You're right, both Farah and Mullen are having top games. It'll take a hell of a long while to get off him. Brentwell. That large left foot of his, it'll go down the throat of Taylor. Took it beautifully. The last second correction then. You have to make a little bit of a dash to get underneath it finally. Nick Cronin managed to stand on the tackle to Muggleton and nicely away to Sterling. Flick to Ella. And let this guy run. He's one of the quickest things I've seen. Over 15 yards, there's none faster.
There's 14 tries last year, 10 already this year.
Beautiful quick hands out here. Kenny stepping, beautiful step, lovely control running, and he's finally taken down. Only about 15 yards out from Canterbury's line. Brentwell trying to disentangle himself there. There's the Parramatta challenge now through Sharp. Last tackle. Sterling, the bomb. That's pressure for Brentwell. He thrives on it. I honestly believe the man thrives on it. The more you put them up, the better he gets. Superb. An object lesson to any young player watching the game. Total concentration and commitment. The shoulder turned towards the opposition. Perfect technique. Oh, there's a meal of it.
Yes, Rex, they can have their Kazali down south. This bloke will do me.
Who did you say?
I said down south they can have their Kazali, but Brentwell's as good as anything down there.
Yes, you're right. I'm afraid I was being sarcastic then. I didn't. The name doesn't mean anything to me. It's a scrum win to Canterbury. Shows the ball. Lovely pass and beautiful tackle. Out there to Mortimer. Dummy. Evades one tackle. Still going. That was Chris. Good ruse there. The ploy of dummying to give the ball the man on the run around and holding it. Steve Mortimer. Gary Hughes. Overlap to the right if they can move it. Mortimer takes the tackle. Coveney took it straight and hard, or was that Mullen? Now we're about 30 yards out now from the Parramatta line. They've had, in truth, a major geographical advantage, but not in terms of points. There's the bomb going up from Steve Mortimer. Brentnell comes charging through. Taylor took it superbly. Here's the break being made on the right by Muggleton. Out to Hunt. Inside one defender, two. Switches to Ella. Don't give this bloke any room. And they finally belt him down about 10 yards out from the halfway line. Now there's the newlywed, Lynn Cronin. Nick's charming wife. Got quite a bit of publicity through the week. Phelan. Could have been penalised for facing square on that occasion. O'Reilly held his pass up well. The Price lobbed one over the top to Kenny. Dummy. A pass to Atkins. Price has it. Price will score. No! The pass has gone astray. Picked up by Sterling. Sucks the defence to him. Gets it to Edge. Edge is close, but he's not there yet. Canterbury on the rack at the moment. How he didn't score, I don't know. There's a penalty been awarded for failing to allow him to his feet. A professional foul. Now Cronin lines up, and there's no doubt about that. So the score, 12 points to 4, and I reckon Canterbury would be fairly happy with that 2 points. Got 3 minutes to half time. 12-4. Canterbury lead Parramatta. So we'll wrap that straight away. Steve Mortimer with that blistering acceleration of his, but Edge was able to pick him off. Gearan. Driven sideways by Kenny. Stokes. Error situation. Parramatta have committed 7, Canterbury 4. Number of times each side's given the ball back to the opposition. Now Parramatta being advised that they had too many people inside the 5. Brentnell's kick back over halfway for the first time for some time.
Canterbury did well to hold Parramatta out for that length of time.
With time in the countdown situation. Dummy. Parramatta. 10 yards out from their line as Steve Mortimer has it. He finds Chris Mortimer, back to Steve Mortimer. Oh, there's a pass gone to ground, and that is a pity. They were getting into a bit of a momentum before Coveney put it away. There's a clean heel to Parramatta. Sterling. Ella. Cronin. Ella. Gary Hughes, the tackler. Rides him into the ground. Taylor. O'Reilly. Phelan. Good defence there from Chris Mortimer. Muggleton. O'Reilly. Sterling. Price, a magnificent pass to Kenny. He evades Folks' tackle. Now to Sterling, and he's well and truly put away there by Tony Armstrong. O'Reilly. Cronin did well to take that. That was touched in flight, 6 to go. Muggleton. First tackle. Penalty. That was against Batiri for failing to let the tackle player get to his feet. And that penalty tally moves on. 8-3 in Parramatta's favour. Well, the clock's showing 40 minutes. Now, he'll be... they've already scored a try from this one. It's a tap restart. As Sterling picks up the ball and goes. And the hooter has gone in the background. The referee hadn't heard it. So at the half-time break, we've got a score that reads Canterbury Bankstown 12, Parramatta 4. The try scorers for Canterbury have been Tony Armstrong and Stephen Folkes tries. Steve Guerin 3 goals from 3 attempts, from 4 attempts. And for the Parramatta side, 2 penalty goals to Michael Cronin. The scrums are 8-3 in favour of Parramatta. The penalties are 8-3. The scrums are 4-3 in favour of Canterbury. We'll be back with more action, hopefully of the same type, in the second half of Sevens Big League. Canterbury get them away with a Guerin kick, and a scoreline that reads Canterbury 12, Parramatta 4. Barry Ross has been in the dressing rooms. What's been on?
Well, Jack Gibson was very unhappy with the Parramatta finishing. He said, we're in their half a lot of times, but we're just not coming up with the tries, and that's what the game is all about.
That penalty went against the Parramatta side for the occasion that the referee indicated that the player was told to play the ball, and he picked up and ran with it. Straight as a gun barrel. That's a beautiful goal. No deviation whatsoever. Canterbury 14, Parramatta 4. In the earlier games today, in reserve grade, Parramatta 26 defeated Canterbury 5. In the third grade, a major upset, one thinks, because the Canterbury side are 4th last and Parramatta were 2nd. Canterbury 12, Parramatta 7 in third grade.
Graham Hughes made a comeback today for Canterbury in that game.
Canterbury have worked their way back to halfway. Steve Mortimer standing on the blind side. Little kick. It goes a bit too low and takes a deflection. Taylor picks that up with ease. And evade the Folkes tackle. Muggleton. 10 yards inside their half. Parramatta. Sterling. Phelan. Gary Hughes high, and Chris Mortimer low. Sterling. O'Reilly back on the inside. Sharp. Sterling elects to kick. It's going to be a good one. Guerin standing up pretty flat there, and that went well behind him, 20 yards behind him. Jeff Bugden, the now Parramatta player who's played lower grades today and making a comeback, to be an important man.
He's Rothman's medalist in 1980.
Yes, if he can regain his form, he'll be a very handy man to come into the second round. That Mazda football of the year is going to be, and here's another penalty. And that was for a punch. Let's see that again. Farah, and that is a silly thing to do. Similar to the Lamb incident against Manly yesterday. Well, it was done out of camera range, evidently. Cronin's kick is successful. And that's a salutary lesson to this young man who's been playing so well, not to do stupid things when you're in possession. The restart. 14-6 to score. Canterbury's way, coming up to 15 minutes. Cronin. Peter Wynn, who's who's, I would think, likely to get a run in this match before the end of the game. He's, I know, knocking on the door of first-grade selection in his own right. And with this side not firing as well as they can, he still managed to get his pass-away price. Beautiful. Muggleton out there to Sharp. Cronin beautifully away to Atkins. Atkins hasn't got the pace to go on with it. He's evaded the Chris Mortimer tackle, but he can't evade the rest of the cover. The crowd rising over there. 14 points to 6. Strong stuff from Phelan. Continuing with that award as Phelan gets up and plays it forward. The Mazda Footballer of the Year will receive a magnificent Mazda RX-7 as his prize valued at $17,524. Now Sterling has been walked another 10 yards, so they would have to take the kick at goal. Well, the upshot of a few stupidities, another kick at goal for Cronin. Looks like he struck that beautifully. That's a great goal from out there, wide out, and that scoreline not looking so horrendous now. Canterbury 14, Parramatta 8. Right from the kick-off, Sterling. And driven sideways. Farah the tackler. Pity he spoiled his performance with a couple of stupidities. A bit of shepherding there, I thought. Taylor back on the inside to Kenny. Oh, that's magically picked up by Ella. And now he's belted to the ground by Mortimer. Peter. Well, the Canterbury defence is reformed. Sterling, Cronin. There's a tackle from this from Mullen. He drove him backwards, and that's no mean feat, about 10 yards. Mullen. Again, the tackler of Muggleton. Sterling. Bob O'Reilly. Beautiful pass to Cronin. One-handed out to Taylor. He's taken ball and all by Armstrong. Moving it now with Gay abandoned. There's some beautiful passing, but Phelan drops that one. Little knock on. Well, Parramatta on the side gathering the momentum now. Still got to score twice. The scrum win to Canterbury. Look inside to Peter Mortimer. Tackled on the halfway line. On the 10-yard line. Folks. Gary Hughes jogs into dummy half. Steve Mortimer looking for ball runners. That's a penalty. The crowd give a loud roar for that. That's their 14-5, the penalties. And the scrums, however, are very much Canterbury's way, 10-4. English away to Coveney. The defence up very quick. Steve Mortimer. A pass away. That was Farah. Now Mullen having a crack at him. Still going. Oh, what a game he's having. Now, Gary Hughes. Beautiful pass out there to Farah, standing wide as he's been told to. Folks unable to get a pass away. Is Mortimer holding the ball? Oh, that was a top pass out there to Chris Batari, I think, is it? Yeah. He came on the burst like a champion. Yes, it was Chris Mortimer. And believe me, those passes aren't any easy ones to take when you're coming at that angle, that pace. We'll have it again. We'll see a replay of this match next Sunday morning on Channel 7. Immediately preceding Sports World, which is 2.5 hours of solid sporting action with a very long look at rugby league as Price comes away with a good run and unloads to Kenny. Kenny through, he'll score, I think. Gearon's in, given chase. Kenny's got too much on him. That's a great run. Gearon did all he could. That's underneath the post. I knew the moment he got into the clear, that was the end of the section. Kenny can run. An exciting try. See it again. 14-11. Now watch Ray Price at this moment pop the pass to Kenny, and from that moment I call it as a try. I didn't believe Gearon could put it with him, and actually he loses about 2 metres over the sprint, perhaps 3. And allowing for the fact that Kenny's carrying the ball, I'd say that puts him at about 4 yards faster, over 100 yards than Gearon. No mean feat. From head on. Now you'll have him running straight at you this time. Scattering seagulls. Head back. Beautiful sight. Hardly a footballer, I believe, that can be left out of the ultimate representative side this year. And there it is, the scoreline now, which has got a whole new look around it. With 18 minutes to go, anybody's game of rugby league. Canterbury 14, Parramatta 13. Now, this wall that's a bit contentious in terms of shepherding. Sterling. That's only about 5 yards out now, and Canterbury well and truly on the rack. They've lost their momentum as Edge goes from dummy half. Taylor stepping, weaving. Strong little player. Price head down. He's been held up in goal. It'll be a scrum there. Very close. Well, actually close. He was over, but couldn't get the ball down. It's a critical one for Canterbury. And I noticed that Mortimer and Sterling don't go on with any garbage about throwing the ball away from each other. They invariably assist each other. That's a critical scrum for Stephen Edge to win. O'Reilly. Still managed to get it back to Muggleton. Crossfield. It's a little bit of a loss. Canterbury. Peter Wynn. Sharp. Only 10 yards out. Edge. Sterling. Edge. Still 10 yards out. 14-11 the score. Canterbury lead. Sterling. Onto O'Reilly. The bear goes crashing ahead. That's the last one. Watch for the bomb. That's a well-judged kick. Pressure. Brentwell flew too high too soon. And I think it's knock-ons both ways. There's a critical scrum win to Canterbury with Mortimer coming up with it. Phelan, who's just been replaced, wrapped in a blanket there. Oh, Farah, very close to being through, caught only by one leg. Steve Mortimer, long floater, back to Armstrong. Back inside to Peter Mortimer. Gary Hughes. Oh, there's a magic pass to Brentwell, goes streaming ahead. Got to play to Armstrong. And there was no support at the last second. Now, Mortimer, long floating pass out to, I believe that's Stephen Mullen out, floating out wide. They've got it up over the halfway. Gary Hughes. Farah evaded one. Too hard the pass. Gary Hughes picks up the dregs, trips over a fallen player, and that's the 6. And the crowd again respond with a good round of applause. There's a scrum went to Parramatta. Good clean heel. The scrums haven't been bad today. Ella. Sharp. Tackled on the halfway line. Way cross. Sterling. O'Reilly. Felled like a tree. Peter Mortimer, the tackler. Peter Wynn trying to get a gallop up. Sterling. O'Reilly, that pass looked forward. Cronin. And that's a bad one. That's a bad one, I can tell you. In my view, that's no try. Look at the board, though. It'll be there when you see it. When you look at that board, it's going to indicate a try's been scored, but there was a pass in that was forward. Now look at this O'Reilly pass. Yes. A half a foot forward, a foot perhaps. Now that is sad. Ella ultimately scores the try. And there might even be a 7-point try in this. There's Ella coming over. And the knees there, that could be well and truly classified as a 7-pointer. Cronin's kick is successful. Now we have the other, the penalty, as that was a 7-point try. And again he's successful. So that scoreline dramatically changing around, 20 points to 14 in Parramatta's favour, and that's all taken place in about 5 minutes. The kick-off, Gearin. It took a funny bounce, that ball, but Sterling has it. From a short time ago, Parramatta having to score twice to get back into the game. Now Canterbury are in the same boat. A little murky-looking sky there, Barry. Does it look like it's going to rain?
No, I think it'll hang off until the end of the game at least.
There's quick possession back to Canterbury. There's a penalty against O'Reilly for failing to let the tackle player get to his feet. Brentnell Gearin coming up to take the kick. And with only 7 minutes to go, that's a brave decision by Gary Hughes. He's got it. So we've got a football game in our hands again. 20 points to 16. Parramatta lead.
Elizabeth Taylor is fifth.
There's a scrum win to Canterbury. Oh, top tackle there. Muggleton. Farrar. Error situation. 13 Parramatta, Canterbury 9. Number of times each side's given it back. Twice hard there, win over the top of Mortimer. Steve Mortimer, a little chip through. Well taken by Edge. That's a valuable catch for the Parramatta skipper. Nearly through the gap. Just caught by the jersey. Only minutes remaining. O'Reilly, Cronin, Wynn. Taylor. Now the last tackle. Sterling. Ray Price. Beautiful pass away to Muggleton. Muggleton's got support. And he goes on his own, and that's a try bomb. It's Canterbury in possession. Muggleton will not be happy when he sees that on replay. He had support out there in the shape of number 2, Hunt. And there was a try there for all seasons. And that is a vast blunder. Gary Hughes. Farrah. 10 yards out. Clock stopped. Crowd haven't moved. We believe there's a couple of minutes to go. And on the break, Canterbury with a little bit of momentum now. Gary Hughes. Brentnell trying to surge through a tackle. Still managed to get it away to Gary Hughes. Out to Brentnell again. A long floating pass out to Gearin. He won't run away from Ella. Ella chops him down with a beautiful diving tackle. Brentnell. Steve Mortimer. Gary Hughes. Long floating pass nicely out to Folks. Folks elects to kick. It's a high up and under. Taylor will fly high for it. It's gone free. Who's got it, Folks? He hasn't signified 6 to go there. Well, that appeared to touch Parramatta players somewhere in that, and I think Folks thought it would touch some Parramatta players. Oh, well, I'll be certain it touched a Parramatta player in that lot, but there's a penalty gone from that scrum as the restart to Canterbury. And they're not taking any time to get on with it. We think there's only about 20 seconds to go. This will be the greatest boil over in history if they get back into it. Only about 3 yards out. Unofficially about 13 seconds to go. Steve Mortimer. Coveney. 20 points to 16. English. Mortimer. Leaves it behind. Not right. All the momentum gone into what must be classified as extra time. Now to scrum into Parramatta, which should seal it for them. They merely have to keep it to 6. 16,135 spectators here today. Ray Price, who had a quiet first half and has come alive in the second. Edge. Way to Sharp through the middle of the ruck. There's the hooter on the background, so Parramatta have got it. And there'll be controversy over this one, I can tell you. But the scoreline reads Parramatta 20, Canterbury Bankstown 16. For the Parramatta side, tries to Steve Ella and Brett Kenny, and goals 7 to Parramatta's Mick Cronin. For the Canterbury Bankstown side, tries to Tony Armstrong and Stephen Folks, and goals 5 to Steve Gearin. Our award winner today came from the losing side. Canterbury Bankstown's second rower, Steve Mullen. And what a game. He had some terrific tackling and laid on one very good try for a teammate. Now the results in a staggering round of rugby league. Canterbury 16, Parramatta 20 at Belmore. St George 13, North 10 at Cogra. Canberra 23, South Sydney 18, unbelievable, at Seaford Oval. Balmain 11, Cronulla 26 at Leichhardt. East 10, Newtown 5 at the Sydney Sports Ground. Penrith 12, Illawarra 17 at Penrith Park, and Manly yesterday 18 got out of jail against West 17, and that was at Brookvale. Now the competition table, a completely different look again from that of last week. Manly and Parramatta on 24, South Sydney on 22,